Hello and what's going on? It's been a very busy day in the world of American soccer here on January 3rd. There are three big deals that I broke today that I would love to break down in this video. Three U.S. national team players either changing teams within MLS or coming back from Europe to MLS. Miles Robinson is heading to FC Cincinnati, Zack Steffen to the Colorado Rapids, and also Djordje Mihailovic to the Colorado Rapids. FC Cincinnati signed center back Miles Robinson in free agency, the biggest free agent on the market this year. It is a huge deal for the reigning Supporters Shield champions, and it's a move that has been in the works for a while. Look, Miles Robinson was sought after by plenty of different MLS teams, but his free agency was very specific, if I could use that word, in that he wanted, if he was going to stay in the league, it was going to be to particular clubs. Cincy was obviously one of the clubs that he would have considered. He visited them on the first day of free agency, which was kind of a giveaway that they were leading the charge. He's out of contract after his time with Atlanta United. Negotiations didn't really happen with Atlanta. As far as I've been told by sources, Atlanta made an offer for a max TAM deal, which is a very, very good offer. But that's been on the table for a year, and they haven't revisited. They haven't renegotiated. They pretty much just said, hey, whenever you want to accept it, accept it. And Miles Robinson and his camp weren't thrilled by that. So he heads to FC Cincinnati, where they believe he'll be a better fit anyway, both in their kind of high-pressing transition system to the extremely athletic and very good ball-winning center back of Miles Robinson, playing next to Matt Miazga, playing under Pat Noonan in this system where so many players have gone there and gotten better and improved. It's a one-year deal with a club option, so I guess we could be running this back in a year. This doesn't close the book on his potential European, desires, but for right now, Miles Robinson is heading to FC Cincinnati. PSV have been linked with him for a while with all the American players they have there. I haven't heard, too much specific on that. But what I do know is two Premier League clubs kind of came in late in the process here. FC Cincinnati and Robinson had agreed to terms 10 days ago, maybe, right? This isn't something that just got hashed out last night. It was just, the documents were signed last night, right? So Cincinnati have been hopeful, and they've been waiting for this kind of confirmation that they were going to get Miles Robinson over the line. And look, this is a huge deal. This shows that this team went from a laughingstock to the premier free agent destination, right? They won three wooden spoons by finishing bottom of MLS each of their first three seasons. And then over 2 years under Chris Albright and Pat Noonan, they won their first playoff game. And then they won their first trophy this year by winning the Supporters Shields. They go into next year as one of the absolute favorites. Again, we'll talk about Brandon Vazquez, sure, soon. But no matter what, they're going to have Matt Miazga, Miles Robinson, reigning MVP Lucho Acosta, $7 million center forward Aaron Bupenza in his first full season, and a whole lot else to like on the squad. Cincy are going to be one of the best teams in the league next year, and Miles Robinson is going to continue to compete for trophies. They're in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which I'll get used to saying over CONCACAF Champions League, and it's just a really big deal all around. We'll see kind of what it means for his national team outlook. He was getting call-ups with Atlanta United. Walker Zimmerman has been getting call-ups with Nashville SC. But, there's a lot of competition at the position. We'll see kind of how Greg Berhalter weighs his decision to stay with FC Cincinnati. Again, and Atlanta offered a max TAM deal. I don't believe that Cincy are even able to offer that because of free agent limitations. So, again, that just shows how much of a destination that FC Cincinnati's become. And now the biggest and best free agent option is off the market in MLS. The second huge deal to come out today is the Colorado Rapids have signed Manchester City goalkeeper Zack Steffen. It's a huge deal for Colorado. They've been working on this for a while. I initially reported on this about a month ago. It's obviously very complicated in his exit from Manchester City to get to the Colorado Rapids and for it to fit under the budget. He will not be a designated player, which is absolutely crucial. This club signed Tim Howard a few years ago, and he was a very, very good, more than a few years ago, half a decade ago, and he was a very good goalkeeper for the team, but he was a DP, and that's just not the best way to build a roster in 2024 in MLS. So from the beginning, from the outset, they said that they couldn't do it if it had to be a DP deal, which is, again, very difficult to get a goalkeeper of Zack Steffen's caliber, somebody who, signed for Manchester City for around $7 million from the Columbus Crew. And the Rapids are just absolutely ecstatic to get this deal done. Again, very complicated. It's all done. Medical's done. Paperwork's sealed and filed. I'm sure it'll be announced pretty soon officially. But for now, sources saying that the deal is done. Zack Steffen, goalkeeper wasn't a need for the Rapids coming into this offseason. They're a very big overhaul, complete overhaul to this team that finished bottom of the league last year. Chris Armas has taken over as head coach. They had a lot of goals and a lot of needs. Goalkeeper was not one of them. This deal is coming together because they figured out that Zack Steffen was available and said, oh boy, we got to go get him. This is a deal too good to pass up. Marco Ilic would have been their starting goalkeeper, and they like him a lot. But now Zack Steffen's coming in. I'd imagine Illich is going to be available on the either transfer market or within the trade market with MLS. William Yarbrough, their longtime few years of starter, and he's a backup towards the end of last year. He's out of contract. The club have traded his rights to San Jose Earthquakes, sources say, and he'll become the backup in San Jose. So that's kind of the goalkeeper shakeup in Colorado. But again, they believe that they're getting an immediate candidate for goalkeeper of the year. Roman Berkey won this award last year. This time last year, people were making fun of St. Louis's deal for Roman Berkey, saying it's too expensive. Like, why are you spending this much money on a goalkeeper? He was a max TAM. I don't know exactly what Steffen is, but he won't be more than a max TAM. And Roman Berkey was, one of the absolute driving forces behind St. Louis being so successful in 2023. And maybe teams are rethinking a little bit. Hey, goalkeepers can be worth the money if you get the right one. LAFC signed Hugo Lloris, which is a different deal because it's about $350,000. I can tell you that Zack Steffen's going to be on a whole lot more than that. The deal is 3 years guaranteed. There's an option for a fourth, but again, this is a long-term target. This is a long-term starter for Colorado Rapids, and it kind of fits their mold of like national team pool guys who went to Europe. Maybe it didn't work out perfectly. Like Zack Steffen went on loan a few times from Manchester City. He played in some cup games. He was clearly the backup to Ederson, and there's nothing wrong with that. Ederson's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But he was supposed to go on loan this summer, but then he picked up an injury and missed the first half of the season, which kind of sputtered any chance that he had to go on loan. And now, things changed. And this January, he's leaving on a permanent deal to go to the Colorado Rapids. He broke through in MLS with the Columbus Crew in his final season before joining Manchester City. Final full season, sorry. He won goalkeeper of the year. And again, that's kind of what the Rapids think that they're getting. And in the first of two very, very big moves for Colorado today, because as I also reported, the club are nearing a deal to sign Djordje Mihailovic from AZ Alkmaar. This is a huge, huge deal for the Colorado Rapids. Georgie will be a DP when this deal is finalized. It's not completely done. He still needs to do a medical and finish kind of the final details. But look, the Colorado got ahead of a lot of other MLS teams that wanted to sign him. Portland Timbers, Chicago Fire, LAFC, FC Cincinnati, even the New York Red Bulls, and what's in common with a few of those teams, they didn't really have a need. A lot of teams were like, oh, Georgie's available, let's try to make a move. But Colorado ended up getting the deal done. They've been asking about Georgie since he was in Chicago. They were trying to trade for him then, but Montreal ended up getting him, and then he went to AZ. And in the summer they asked about him, and now they asked about him again, and they're getting the deal done. This is huge. Georgie would likely be playing as a left winger. He plays a 10 as well. Depends on exactly how Chris Armas sets up his team. If it's a 4-2-3-1, as I expect it to be, Georgie will likely play as an inverted left winger and kind of be the task with being the man in this attack. Rafael Navarro is center forward. He's on loan until the summer. And right now, Djordje Mihailовic's deal will be north of $3 million transfer fee, which would make it a club record for the Colorado Rapids. If they pick up Navarro's purchase option, that would be a new club record. That's $4.5 million. But there's a lot of excitement in Colorado right now. They've moved on from a lot of veterans. They've moved on from a lot of players, and already with Steffen, Mihailovic, Omir Fernandez, Miguel Navarro, that's 4 new starters in this team already. And I've been told they're not done. I imagine that they're going to look for a number 6. And so if they do play a 4-2-3-1, they would pair, a more defensive option next to Connor Ronan, who was awesome. He was one of their bright spots in his first season at the club last year as they finished kind of bottom of the Western Conference. Again, this is a very big deal for the Rapids. We'll see exactly what it means for Mihailovic as well. But he started off well at AZ when he joined last winter from CF Montreal. And then he kind of had picked up a little injury when he was getting into the team and never really reclaimed that spot in the lineup. And now a year later, he's coming back to MLS. Colorado are cooking, man. Colorado are cooking, and it's very exciting. This is going to be a completely new team. Let's see how the pieces all fit. It's definitely one of the most interesting teams to watch this year. And hey, if you made it this far into my first, real YouTube video, we'll see how long it takes from right now to me getting this uploaded, because I think it's going to be a lot of curse words at my computer, a lot of frustration. It's going to be a bad thumbnail. We'll see how it goes. So there's a little behind the scenes info about how this crap is going. How do you make a goddamn thumbnail? Ugh.